So the student pedagogy team is a student learning community where we work with both teachers and students to like help make our learning better and just to like improve the ways in which we learn and like put our perspective on how we want to learn and what things like help us most. And as the leader, I kind of overlook everything, but I also like help each different group with what they're doing, and I also like go in and observe some lessons myself.
I'm a chief learner, which means that I will go in and teach 15 to 20-minute lessons in different classes in the way that I think that the students would better off instead of maybe a way that a teacher would teach a lesson.
I'm a learning agent, so I will go and sit inside a teacher's classroom while she's teaching, and I'll observe, and then at the end of the lesson I'll tell her what I liked about the lesson, what could improve, which is a really good way in bringing new ideas and making class more exciting for students.
So I observed a Year 7 music lesson, and we got lots of feedback that the teacher made it much easier for them to understand, and that the posters around the room were very, very useful. So then I took this back to Miss Hill, and then she told some of her staff, and then the head of the maths department came back to me and asked if we could create some posters for the maths department, and now there are lots and lots of posters up in the maths. And also we then took the feedback back to the teacher that we observed the lesson of, and he was very pleased how he got lots of positive feedback.
Chief learner. So the chief learner is going to lessons, and they plan 15 to 20 minute lessons to students to see how they like to learn. And I did a Pop Stars assembly one morning where we taught Year 7 and 8 students about different aspects of psychology, and I thought it was really interesting for them because they thought they were able to communicate better because they were being taught by students their own age.
Improve their learning. So for instance, Mr. Hunt is a tech teacher that wanted help on changing the assessment feedback to make it more enjoyable and easier to understand, because at the moment it's in grown-up words, whereas some children can't always understand that and so need that kind of translated more so into what they can understand. So he wanted me to find different assessment feedback, so I had to go through my lessons and find different assessment feedback that I get from other teachers, and he wanted to try and incorporate that into the tech feedback and make it more open and accessible to everyone.
We also take input from other students that may be a bit too shy to tell the teachers or just express their opinion. Right. We can then take that back to because we have a student leadership team, and we take feedback from other students that are in our teams back to that meeting, so then their ideas get spread as well, and then everyone gets involved.
Just be allowed to like work at your own level,
because in Parsons we have bronze, silver, gold and platinum. So we get to work at our own level, our own pace, and we're not trying to keep up with everyone.
Yeah, but like I'm not saying we should do it all the time, but most of the time, because sometimes we do need to do a lot of writing, but not all the time. It's not very good for us.
Well, in different subjects I prefer different things. So in subjects like maths and chemistry that I struggle with a little bit more, I like to have the freedom to talk to people if I want to. So like if I need a bit of help I can, but it's having that balance of like trust and like the right seating plan so it works effectively, like without people just like disrupting the class instead. But subjects like English and geography and psychology, I like to just be able to get on with it like on my own, like independently, and just have like a quiet environment to work in.
Because if we all have the same work, some people might find it too hard or too easy. So some people won't be learning anything, and some people won't be able to learn anything at all because they won't understand. So for me, I think it's better because I can work at my own level and someone else can be working at their own level.
And you can like start low and then work your
way up. So you're learning and you're learning as you go.
Like even if you do bronze, you can still work at platinum after. So you're not like restricted to do just one.
And then within that you can do like posters, you can do mind maps, you can write on tables.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
It would probably be like progress steps, because that enables me to like manage my time effectively, because I know what I've got to work towards, and it would be and it just sets like a goal that I've got to achieve by the end of the lesson.
I would say progress steps as well, because even if I'm not sure I'm going to get complete to the end of the steps, it means I have miniature goals that I can like set myself towards. A bit like teachers often suggest you do for most things in life, is to set little goals and then work your way towards those little goals, and then think about a bit of a bigger picture afterwards.
I would probably say stop interrupting the classroom and stop talking all the time, because when you get engrossed with your learning, you're into it, like you're writing down, you don't want to be stopped and then you forget the whole thing.
Because when I think a teacher should always explain something at the start and then let us get on with it. Because if we keep stopping and starting, we'll probably get something wrong. Because when we start, we're proper getting into it, and then we're like, all our ideas are just coming, and then we get stopped, and then our ideas just blow away. So
It's really annoying.
Just like look at how you like organise and like place the students in your class, because some students are quite like well behaved but they're still distracting. So like maybe in like a lesson, look at how they're behaving throughout and then place them accordingly, so it's not like disrupting.
For teachers to understand and respect that different students have different preferred methods of learning and have different ways of learning that help them, and so you to use a different range of like learning techniques in one lesson, so that each student will be able to have some form to be able to help them remember the information from the letter easier.
When the teachers interact with the students, because I've had teachers that don't interact well, and the class is so disruptive and no one ends up learning, whereas when I have a teacher that interacts with us, everyone learns, gets on with the work, and it's a much nicer environment for everyone.
Listen to what the students' feedback are giving you, because they're the ones actually experiencing it, and they can see it from different perspectives than the teacher can. And also, we've had a discussion before about this, that when students like walk out of class and things like that, if you ask them like, are you okay, is there something going on, like genuinely be concerned, rather than just shouting at them and telling them to like just stop. It's not helping them as a person, it's not helping them like improve upon it. So I think if you ask if they're okay and make sure they're okay before like they start giving detentions and things like that, it would really help the student as well as the teacher, and then it will help the student in their class. They're going to stop misbehaving and things like that.
I've kind of just realised like how much work goes into actually like teaching and like getting up and like teaching a lesson, because I don't think I really realised how like hard it was sometimes. So like being able to go into lessons and see like what goes on and how other students feel, like apart from myself, was like really helpful to like understand more like the different perspective they have.
For me, it's sort of more the public speaking sort of, I guess, sector of teaching, that even though it's I can kind of understand how long it takes teachers to sort of plan lessons sometimes, but you never really think about the fact that then a teacher has to stand in front of this class and then teach, and you don't often think about actually that is actually quite difficult in itself, especially in a room of possibly quite rowdy teenagers that aren't going to want to listen to what the teacher is saying.